Okay. Thank you, Esperanza. Just double checking that everyone can hear me. Okay. Are you able to hear me now? Maybe not. Yes. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you. So my name is Emilio, and I'll be discussing the DERA Emission Reduction Act, or the DERA program. So there are approximately 10 million legacy diesel engines still in use nationwide, and these diesel engines emit NOx, PM 2.5, and other pollutants which contribute to serious public health problems. The DERA program provides grants to accelerate the upgrade and turnover of diesel fleets to reduce diesel air emissions from medium and heavy duty vehicles or non road engines. The DERA Tribal and Territories Competitive Notice of Funding Opportunity, or their NOFO, is opening soon, and cost share matching funds are not required for that program. If you could go to the next slide, please. Thanks. The goal of the DERA program is to reduce diesel air emissions from medium and heavy duty vehicles or non road engines. Grantees will choose to scrap an existing, currently operating, older diesel engine, replacing it with a new, cleaner, similar vehicle type. Some eligible diesel vehicles and equipment include school buses, refuse haulers, shuttle buses, and more. So here's a list of eligible diesel vehicle engines and equipment, vehicles, engines, and equipment. So we have buses, both transit and school buses, class 5 through 8 medium and heavy duty highway trucks, including drayage, delivery, long and short haul, trash trucks, fire, rescue, dump trucks, and utility trucks. Marine engines, locomotive engines, non-road engines, equipment, or vehicles, which includes forklifts, cargo handling at a port, airport, or warehouse, yard hostlers, construction, and agriculture. Some eligible truck and bus classifications include Class 5, Class 6, Class 7, and Class 8. The 2023 DERA National Funding Program is currently open now and closes on December 1st, 2023. The 2023 DERA Tribal and Territory Funding Program is opening soon. The DERA National Grant Program is a very competitive program with a 2-year cycle. Eligible entities are those involved in transportation, air quality, and diesel fleets, such as tribal, regional, state, local, or port agencies, and nonprofit organizations who can partner with public and private fleets to pass down these grant funds. Applicants must scrap and replace or upgrade an existing diesel vehicle, equipment, or engine, and there are various types of diesel engines and equipment that are eligible for funding to reduce diesel emissions, and evaluation criteria points are tied to poor air quality areas. The DERA National Notice of Funding Opportunity, again, as I said, is open now, and it closes on Friday, December 1st, 2023. The DERA Tribal Funding Program is also a competitive program and has no mandatory cost share requirement. This is a separate funding opportunity from other DERA programs and is more flexible than the DERA National Grant Program. The grant applications for the Tribal and Territories Program undergo a separate review by our EPA staff. Applicants must scrap and replace or upgrade an existing diesel vehicle, equipment, or engine with various types of diesel vehicles and equipment eligible for funding to reduce diesel emissions. Evaluation criteria points are tied to poor air quality areas. The DERA Tribal Grant Program, any existing Older diesel vehicles or engines replaced must be fully operational and have 2 years of remaining life left. The vehicle must be owned by the tribe for 2 years prior, and applications will need to confirm that they meet the minimal hours or miles of operation per year, and that the new engine will perform a similar function or operation as the one being replaced. Documentation requirements must attest to the ownership, usage, and remaining life requirements of the engine, but are not due at the time of application to the grant program. So these are just some forms that are required for the grant application documents. They include standard forms for EPA, as well as a project narrative, which is a 14-page maximum, a fleet description which includes a template, and then the estimated emission reduction calculations. These can be acquired by using the EPA's diesel emission quantifier or our DEC tool. If you would like to include cost share commitment letters, those are encouraged, and so are partnership letters, and a mandatory measures justification if applicable to your tribe. All right, we're almost done here, but we want to include some tips for successful DERA applications. Sure. Okay. So some general tips. We encourage applicants to connect with EPA Region 9 staff before the NOFO comes out. So this allows us to answer your questions and really explore options. So once the NOFO comes out, Region 9 staff can only answer general questions. So if you have questions, please connect with us early before the NOFO opens, and that's right now. The NOFO is not open yet, so please reach out now if you have any questions. Tribes can partner with your local air agency when applying for this grant. Some project narrative tips. The maximum number of pages last year was 14. We recommend that you don't go over those pages because reviewers can't read anything after page 14. So if you go over, we just literally can't read it. So assume that EPA reviewers know nothing about your tribe. This is a really good tip. Our reviewers come from many different parts of the EPA, so grant reviewers might live and work on the other side of the country. So please include any details that would help a person completely unfamiliar understand your project. And you can see the NOFO Appendix B project narrative instructions for format and content, and fill out the sample project narrative template that's provided there. Other project narrative tips include respond to all evaluation criteria and sub-criteria. So separate each of these areas out and then provide high levels of detail for each. We evaluate applications based on the details that are provided on the project. And so we need each of these, evaluation criteria and sub-criteria to be addressed. Some examples of EPA reviewer evaluation criteria comments reviewing and scoring past applications include things like this sub-criteria was not mentioned, or no details provided on the breakdown of costs. So this is important. Any costs that are listed should be explained in detail. Other comments include this was not an eligible cost, so make sure what you're requesting is eligible. How the existing older diesel vehicle will be scrapped but not mentioned in the work plan. So this is important. The DERA program has very specific scrappage requirements that includes documentation. So please include that in your application. And there's also the required fleet description attachment was not filled out. So please make sure that all the required attachments are included because this documentation is required for an application to be considered complete. So this is a list of the FY22 evaluation criteria, and some of the FY 2023 NOFO criteria might differ from what's here. I just want to point out that many of these evaluation criteria have sub-criteria, so it's important to pay attention to filling those out completely and including the applicant fleet description. A few more details on the specific evaluation sub-criteria. There's an environmental justice and underserved communities section where it asks you to explain how the project benefits Indigenous populations that have been affected by human health, environmental, climate-related, and other impacts. And you can provide demographic statistics using our EJ screen tool. And then for budget, please just make sure that the administrative and grant management costs, you can use the DERA funds or provide a tribal voluntary cost share here and provide a detailed descriptive breakout of all major funding activities using Appendix B. All right, I'll hand it back over to Esperanza. Or maybe not. I think, oh, did you turn the mic? Okay, sorry, I forgot about the mic situation. Thanks.